How can crafts help me? I don't even know where to start. If you feel like this video could be useful for you. If you are already crafty or couldn't care less about that stuff, I hope you'll stick around anyway. I hope you'll follow me along on my journey of this question. What is it that always brings me back to crafting? If you want to get ideas for making your own book, stick around, because as I do my voiceover thing, I'll be showing you how I made my latest book. I should say it's a lot simpler than this one. Unnecessarily complicated. I find that in my creative process, my first attempts of things are usually way more complicated than a much simpler technique that I come across much later. I wonder if anyone else is like that. How has it benefited me? It's something that I have always come back to, again and again, especially when I've been faced with uncertainty. A very strong memory I have is way back in 2004. It was the year that I graduated. I made my very first book. I obsessed over it. I fixed it and worked on it again and again. I scoured my pictures and I glued and taped and cut and shaped it. When I was getting ready to graduate, I was completely overwhelmed by how big the world was about to get. I didn't know what I wanted to do long term. All I had known for 13 years of life was school. You wake up, you go to school, you come home, that's it. To think of suddenly being done with it was jarring. To think of being trapped into the normal life of jobs and debt and obligations was terrifying. I knew I was going to join Covenant Players, but that was so unknown and scary I couldn't even think about that either. The future was a formless void, and I poured my energy into this book. I saved all the memories that were captured in pictures of precious friends and precious times. I was so proud to show it to anyone, whether they wanted to look at it or not. Hello! I have a set! Isn't it cool? So, maybe you have a lot of books. Like this notebook, for example. Maybe it's still in the plastic and you just haven't had a reason to take it off yet. Maybe you've been gifted many journals over the years. But if you don't, I want to show you a super easy way to take a cereal box and recycled papers and a hole punch and make your own amazing book. And I did graduate and I did join CP. And while on my first tour, my life back home was changing and in turmoil. Things were so stressful, scary, and overwhelming. I didn't have the words for what I was going through, being so far from the people I loved so much. So I colored the design in the back of that diary, every day, bit by bit. It took a long time. I was busy with a lot of other things. So when I was alone with my thoughts that racked my brain, it made my soul feel like it was being chewed up. I colored and colored and colored. Honestly, the more perfect your book is, the more you're going to be afraid of making mistakes in it. Maybe. I know, a lack of perfection is not everyone's cup of tea, but it sure is mine. I've loved and used a lot more of the imperfect things that I've made. You just gotta get over this fear of, I'm gonna make a mistake, it's gonna be wrong. Like, don't worry about it. Crafting, coloring, painting, just using colors and enjoying the process of letting those colors speak their own expression of what I feel is definitely therapeutic. This really tough time in my life was it involved breaking off an engagement and a lot of other things that I'm not going to talk about because it's not my story to tell. But the thing that I wanted to say about it was, when I look at this book, and I see how I colored in all these things. All I see is the beauty. I don't feel the torn up feelings. And it's just these things that we go through, they make up our life. And we can look back on them. I can see, yeah. I filled this book up, I closed it, and I never needed to write in it again. If you are just not interested at all in making your own book, you can just glue stuff into a magazine. I did that in this video up here. You can check that out, and the link will also be in the description. I'm sure you will make something that you love. And if you want to try this book, you can experiment with better ways to bind it, or you can look up tutorials. There are plenty of them out there. I prefer to make my own derpy mistakes rather than follow instructions and constantly feel like I'm failing because I don't have the right materials or I just don't understand what they're saying. I wrote some ideas of things that you can do or write in your book in the description. If you'd like to connect over it, I'd love for you to check out my friend Emma's Facebook group, Emma Outside the Box. She's got lots of great ideas for crafts, and it's a happy and positive place to share work and get encouragement. So why do I go back to it? Because art helps me to express the things that I don't have words for. Color and cutting and gluing help me take something and make it my own. It's a way to process struggle and growth, and to take something that is difficult and make something beautiful in the midst of it all. What's the point? These little treasures are going to be around longer than me. My words and thoughts and ideas and collected quotes will help my kids to understand me, to connect with me. They will help me to connect to the person I was during different points in my life. They will show me what my priorities were and what my questions were. When I'm in dark places, they can remind me of beauty that I collected. When I look at a day and my time, I want to have something to show for it. I want to have done at least one thing in the day that mattered. Writing, art, remembering, and preserving the essence of who you are within pages is never a waste of time. We are all going through a hard time right now, and we're figuring out how to embrace a new normal for as long as it has to be. We are worried about family and about the world and about suffering and money and so many other things. There's this quote from The Lord of the Rings that I've seen a few people post. I think you may have probably seen it yourself or read the words or seen it in the movie. Frodo says to Gandalf, "I wish the ring had never come to me. I wish none of this had happened." And Gandalf says in his deep, wise voice, "So do all who live to see such times. But that is not for them to decide. All we have to decide is what to do with the time that is given to us." So write it down, color it, draw it, cut it out, and glue it. Mail it to a friend. Mail is going to have to keep happening. Let's make the post people out there smile with decorated envelopes and love poured into them. If you are a video creator, this is what you do when you edit. You connect those clips with purpose, music, light, and stories. Keep doing that, even when you don't feel like it. Your art matters, however you choose to do it. I like to listen to people share from their hearts and experiences while I craft. If people say something especially profound, I like to scribble it down. My advice for you is just let yourself scribble. Don't worry about handwriting, don't worry about themes, don't worry about sharing it on social media.
Tomorrow, my sister can do this one again, and then I can do that one again, and next day, my sister's gonna have it again, next day I can have it again.
Good idea.
Anything.
Oh no, can I help you?
I want to do one more time.
Okay.
Don't see anything.
Okay, can I help you now? Thank you. This is the last thing I have to say. Do it just for you. Cut and glue or draw or color because you feel like it. If you want to do a page of black jagged edges, do it. If you want to be careful and precise, do you. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot to say thank you for watching and hugs and watch out. The vacuous nostrils of death are coming for you. Quick, before you're sucked into oblivion, you should watch the video that's on the screen. It's gonna be too late soon. It's the nostrils of death. Nailed it. If you want to get ideas for how to make your own